Arman Tsarukyan is keeping himself sharp on the mats, while the UFC lightweight picture sorts itself out. The 27-year-old contender has officially been booked for another grappling bout, this time at ACBJJ on September 19th in Moscow, though his opponent hasn't been revealed yet. It marks his third grappling match since May, when he edged out Makasharib at Karate Combat in Dubai, before submitting former Bellator lightweight champion Patrick Pitbull with a rear naked choke later that month. It's been a frustrating stretch for Tsarukyan inside the UFC. He was scheduled to challenge Islam Makhachev for the lightweight title this past January, only to be pulled hours before weigh-ins. His most recent MMA appearance came at UFC 300 in April 2024, where he secured a razor-close split decision over Charles Oliveira, solidifying himself as the #1 contender. The grappling activity makes sense. It keeps him in competitive rhythm, builds his profile in Russia, and helps refine the tools he'll rely on when he finally gets another crack at UFC Gold. With Ilia Topuria now sitting atop the lightweight division after his stunning knockout of Oliveira, Tsarukyan is widely seen as the most logical next challenger. His grinding chain wrestling, cardio, and underrated striking provide a strong stylistic contrast to Topuria's knockout power. The open question is whether the UFC wants to make that fight immediately, or let Tsarukyan stay busy with another high-profile matchup first. Until then, he'll keep competing in grappling, a reminder of why Khabib Nurmagomedov recently called him the best lightweight in the world. So the questions are clear. Who makes sense as a grappling dance partner for Tsarukyan this September? Another MMA star like Patrick Pitbull, or a pure jiu-jitsu ace to really test his ground game? And more importantly, should he be the one to welcome Topuria to his first title defense at 155? Conor McGregor's long-awaited UFC comeback appears to be gaining serious traction. Weeks after confirming that he had re-entered the drug testing pool, the Irish star revealed that he has already undergone a second doping test, signaling genuine progress toward a return that has eluded him for nearly 5 years. Posting an update from his yacht, McGregor shared a photo of a UFC testing kit with the caption, "Another day. Another UFC tester aboard my yacht. Clean sport," only further fueling speculation that his comeback could headline the UFC's planned White House card in July 2026. The significance of this step is amplified by McGregor's rocky recent history. Since suffering a broken leg against Dustin Poirier at UFC 264 in 2021, his fighting future has been clouded by injuries, business ventures, and personal controversies. A much-hyped return against Michael Chandler at UFC 303 fell apart after McGregor injured his toe, adding to doubts that he would ever make it back. Still, his charisma and global star power have kept fans hopeful. Earlier this year, McGregor even posted his own blood and urine samples on Instagram, though many dismissed them as staged. This time, however, official entries in the UFC's anti-doping database confirm that he has indeed resumed the mandatory testing process, with at least one registered session in 2025. Momentum now points toward a grander stage, the UFC's 250th Independence Day celebration, planned for July 2026 at the White House. Both President Donald Trump and UFC President Dana White have endorsed the idea, and McGregor himself has publicly volunteered to be the card's centerpiece. Excited with President Trump announcing a UFC fight event at the White House. "I would be honored. Count me in," McGregor wrote on July 4th. White has yet to confirm McGregor's participation but did reveal plans to meet with him in Italy to discuss details. Until then, the former double champion seems focused on staying in shape, continuing his testing regimen, and keeping himself in the spotlight. For fans who have endured years of false starts, this latest development is the clearest indication yet that McGregor's long-awaited return may finally be on the horizon. Tracy Cortez and Erin Blanchfield will finally run it back, nearly 6 years after their first meeting. The two flyweights are set to meet again at UFC 322 on November 15, 2025, in a fight that could push the winner directly into title contention. Their first encounter came at Invicta FC 34 in 2019, where Cortez edged out Blanchfield by split decision in a razor-close fight that handed Blanchfield her first professional loss. Ever since, Fans have wondered what a rematch would look like, with both fighters developed into proven UFC contenders. Blanchfield comes into the bout with momentum, having most recently outclassed former strawweight champion Rose Namajunas in Edmonton last November. That win was an important rebound after she suffered her first UFC loss to Manon Fiorot earlier in 2024. Now 7-1 in the promotion, she has established herself as one of the division's brightest young stars, with signature wins over Jessica Andrade, Taila Santos, and Molly McCann. Cortez has been carving out her own impressive run, recently defeating Viviane Araujo by unanimous decision at UFC 317 in June. Her 5-fight winning streak was snapped by Namajunas the year before, but she has quietly built a strong UFC resume, with victories over Jasmine Jasudavicius and Melissa Gatto. Holding a 6-1 record in the promotion, Cortez has shown steady growth in her game and sees this rematch as a chance to solidify her place among the elite. The card itself is already attracting attention, with the possibility of Islam Makhachev moving up to challenge welterweight champion Jack Della Maddalena in the main event, though that fight has yet to be confirmed. Still, Cortez vs. Blanchfield adds another layer of intrigue to UFC 322, a matchup between two fighters with history, momentum, and the chance to move into striking distance of a title shot in one of the UFC's most competitive divisions. The UFC's commentary booth has come under heavy scrutiny from fans in recent months, with longtime voices Joe Rogan and Daniel Cormier at the center of debate. While the trio of Jon Anik, Rogan, and Cormier has been a staple of pay-per-view broadcasts for several years, many in the fan base feel the duo of former fighters has lost some of the sharpness that once made the UFC booth stand out. Rogan, who has reduced his UFC schedule in recent years, missed his first pay-per-view in several years when the promotion returned to Louisiana for Dustin Poirier's retirement fight at UFC 318. His absence was noted, with some questioning whether the legendary broadcaster was phasing himself out of the role. When he returned for UFC 319, criticism resurfaced, with even UFC welterweight champion Jack Della Maddalena jokingly calling for a Cormier mute button on broadcasts. Still, Rogan insists that his role remains valuable, even if at times it means educating his co-commentators in real time. On a recent episode of his podcast, Rogan revealed that he had to correct Cormier during a pivotal sequence at UFC 319. "I don't know about judo. I know how to do a few hip tosses, but when someone is doing something I don't even know what it's called. In wrestling, I have to refer to DC. So even in martial arts, I'm not an expert," Rogan admitted. In jiu-jitsu, it happened in the last fight, on the last UFC card. Daniel Cormier didn't know about the dead orchard. He thought this fighter was fine because they had two arms in when they were caught in a triangle. I go, "No, this is a real submission. This is dangerous." Rogan was referring to the Karine Silva vs. Dione Barbosa bout, in which Silva locked in the rarely seen dead orchard submission during the second round. While Cormier initially dismissed the threat, Rogan stepped in to highlight the severity of the position. The exchange underscores a broader criticism of the UFC commentary booth. Fans have long praised Rogan's ability to break down technical elements of fights, particularly in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but many argue that both he and Cormier sometimes miss details or rely too heavily on their personalities rather than analysis. For some, moments like the Silva submission reinforce Rogan's continuing importance on broadcasts, while for others, they highlight the inconsistencies in the team's dynamic. Despite the backlash, the UFC has given no indication that it plans to shake up its broadcast team. With Anik steering play-by-play, Rogan and Cormier remain two of the most recognizable voices in MMA, for better or worse. And with Rogan himself acknowledging that he sometimes needs to step in to keep his fellow commentators informed, it appears the chemistry between the iconic trio will continue to spark debate among fans. The lightweight division has a new champion in Ilia Topuria, but UFC legend Khabib Nurmagomedov doesn't believe his reign will last long if Arman Tsarukyan gets the next shot. Topuria, 17-0, captured the vacant lightweight title at UFC 317 in June, scoring a devastating first-round knockout over former champion Charles Oliveira. The undefeated Spanish-Georgian star has quickly become one of the UFC's most marketable fighters, with potential challengers including Justin Gaethje, Paddy Pimblett, and top contender Arman Tsarukyan. While Topuria's striking has overwhelmed every opponent he's faced, Nurmagomedov sees Tsarukyan as a stylistic nightmare for the new champion. In a recent interview with Kamil Gadzhiev via Championship Rounds, the UFC Hall of Famer gave a blunt assessment. "I don't see a chance for Topuria," Khabib said. "A big punch is not gonna work. Arman fights with strikers from a distance too much. He keeps his distance well, works better with his legs, and now Arman is too good. I think right now, the best lightweight is Tsarukyan." Khabib pointed to Tsarukyan's relentless wrestling and grappling as the keys to shutting down Topuria's striking heavy style. Arman can take him down. He has good elbows on the ground. Very good elbows. He can wrestle, armbar, take the back. But he simply won't fight at this dangerous distance with Topuria. I'd say it's 80-20 in Arman's favor. Wrestling has always ruled, especially in such fights. The comments echo a recurring theme in Khabib's career and analysis: that high-level wrestling is the most dominant skill set in MMA. He also suggested that Topuria has yet to face a truly elite grappler, noting that his biggest wins came against strikers like Alexander Volkanovski, Max Holloway, and Oliveira. Tsarukyan, 9-2 UFC, 22-3 overall, is riding a 4-fight win streak, including victories over Beneil Dariush and a split decision over Oliveira at UFC 300. Known for his suffocating wrestling pressure, the Armenian-Russian contender has been viewed by many as the division's future. Topuria, however, remains flawless as a professional, with 9 straight wins inside the UFC and a growing reputation as one of the most dangerous knockout artists in the sport. With Makhachev moving up to welterweight and the lightweight thrown wide open, a Topuria vs. Tsarukyan title fight could be one of the most anticipated clashes of 2025. If the UFC makes it happen, the matchup would pit one of MMA's most feared wrestlers against one of its sharpest strikers, and according to Khabib, only one of those styles truly rules inside the octagon. The UFC middleweight division continues to evolve rapidly, and former champion Dricus du Plessis now finds himself at a crossroads following his recent loss to Khamzat Chimaev at UFC 319. While some fans and pundits have suggested an immediate rematch could be in order, the consensus seems to be that the South African contender may need to rebuild his path to the belt. One intriguing option, according to Chael Sonnen, is a showdown with Brazilian powerhouse Paulo Costa. Costa, who is coming off a victory over Roman Kopylov, wasted little time in turning his attention to du Plessis, calling him out for what he believes would be a blockbuster matchup. While Costa is not currently in the top tier of middleweight contenders, his name value and aggressive fighting style make him a compelling opponent for du Plessis, who is looking to bounce back in a big way. In a recent video on his YouTube channel, Sonnen threw his full support behind the idea of booking the fight. "I love it. I love the matchup," Sonnen said. "By the way, this is Paulo Costa's call-out, but I feel like he nailed it. Tell me a better fight. Tell me a better fight for Dricus." In some ways, that is the perfect opponent for Dricus. Dricus is the perfect opponent for Paulo Costa. I just get that one. Sonnen's endorsement carries weight, given his reputation for analyzing stylistic clashes and understanding the business side of matchmaking. From his perspective, the bout works on multiple levels. It's marketable, it positions du Plessis against a big-name opponent without throwing him straight back into a title fight, and it gives Costa a chance to reassert himself in a division where he has long hovered near the top but struggled to break through. For du Plessis, a fight with Costa offers the opportunity to remind fans and UFC brass that he remains one of the most dangerous fighters at 185 pounds. The former champion had built an undefeated run in the UFC before falling short against Chimaev, and a victory over a fan favorite like Costa could re-establish him as a frontrunner for another title shot. Costa, on the other hand, has had an up-and-down run in recent years. Despite setbacks against the likes of Israel Adesanya, Marvin Vettori, and Robert Whittaker, his explosive style and charisma have kept him in the spotlight. A win over Du Plessis would not only boost his ranking, but also remind fans of the knockout power that once made him a feared contender. Stylistically, the fight promises fireworks. Du Plessis is known for his relentless pressure, awkward but effective striking, and underrated grappling game. Costa thrives in high-paced striking exchanges, often relying on his durability and forward pressure to overwhelm opponents. A clash between the two could easily deliver the kind of action-packed fight that fans love, and one that would headline a fight night card or serve as a co-main on a pay-per-view. With both fighters eager to climb back toward the title picture, Sonnen's assessment that this is the perfect matchup may prove accurate. The UFC has yet to make any official announcement, but if the promotion is looking for a compelling middleweight battle that satisfies fans and keeps both men relevant in the contender mix, Du Plessis vs. Costa could be the fight to book. Sean O'Malley may no longer hold the bantamweight title, but he's still keeping a close eye on the division he once ruled, and the next matchup at the top has his full attention. The former champion, who twice fell short against reigning king Merab Dvalishvili, recently gave his thoughts on the Georgian's upcoming title defense against Cory Sandhagen at UFC 320. For O'Malley, the fight is one of the most intriguing in recent memory at 135 pounds because of the clash in styles and the proven toughness of both men. O'Malley praised Dvalishvili's relentless pace and durability, noting that his schedule and fighting spirit continue to stand out. The dude jumped into a frozen lake on top of his head. Not surprised that he's fighting back-to-back times, O'Malley told MMA Junkie. He's a savage. He's built for fighting, and why not take advantage of it? Not surprised at all. Still, despite his respect for Dvalishvili's grind, O'Malley was quick to highlight the areas where he sees flaws in the champion's game. Merab is improving each fight, but he's still, to this day I watch him and I'm like, God, I know I can knock this mother F out, O'Malley said. He's sloppy in certain positions and he's beatable. He's definitely beatable. And you can't count Cory out. Sandhagen, a perennial contender, has long been regarded as one of the division's most polished strikers, and O'Malley believes that could be a real difference maker. Cory is one of the most skilled guys in the UFC, not just in the bantamweight division, O'Malley continued. You can't count Cory out. I'm very curious to see how that fight plays out. What happens if Merab gets a hold of Cory? Merab felt super strong, so I'm curious to see what kind of scrambles Cory can create, and if he can give him any trouble. With O'Malley openly saying he still sees a path to beat Dvalishvili, his analysis carries some added weight. A Sandhagen upset could potentially shuffle the division in a way that brings Sugar closer to another title shot, while a dominant win for Dvalishvili would further cement the champion's grip on the division. The UFC 320 card is quickly shaping up to be one of the year's most stacked events, and the latest edition brings a mix of high-level grappling and fresh international talent to the lineup. The promotion confirmed that former Bellator bantamweight champion Patchy Mix will return to the octagon to face reigning KSW bantamweight champion Jakub Wicklacz, who will be making his UFC debut. The bout is scheduled for October 4, 2025, at the T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas. Mix, 31, made his UFC debut at UFC 316 this past June, but suffered a lopsided unanimous decision loss to rising contender Mario Bautista. Prior to that setback, No Love was riding a dominant 7-fight winning streak in Bellator, where he captured and defended the bantamweight title. With a professional record of 20-2, Mix is a proven finisher, securing 13 of his wins by submission. His opponent, Jakub Wicklacz, enters the UFC riding his own wave of momentum. The Polish standout last fought at KSW 95 in June 2024, successfully defending his belt with a second-round submission over Sebastian Pribish. Wicklacz is unbeaten in his last 7 outings and brings a the 2nd of March 16 record, with 10 wins via submission, signaling that this clash could quickly turn into a high-level ground battle. This matchup joins an already loaded UFC 320 card, headlined by a light heavyweight title rematch between champion Magomed Ankalaev and former champ Alex Pereira. The co-main event will see bantamweight king Merab Dvalishvili put his belt on the line against Cory Sandhagen, marking his third defense in 2025. Elsewhere on the card, former 205-pound champion Jiří Procházka will face dangerous knockout artist Khalil Rountree Jr., while the main card also features 3 intriguing middleweight bouts: Abbas Magomedov vs. Joe Pyfer, Ateba Gautier vs. Ozzy Diaz, and Edmund Shabazian vs. Andre Muniz. With Mix vs. Wicklax now official, UFC 320 has a mix of championship stakes, fan-favorite names, and stylistic clashes that could make it one of the most memorable fight nights of the year.